There's a technique I've used a few times in this class called unpacking, and I don't think I've ever discussed it directly, and we're going to keep using this unpacking technique during the scikit-learn portion of the class, so I just wanted to address it directly. So here as a warm-up question, say I want to define ncol to be the number of columns in the Spotify dataset, okay, which I've loaded here. So I think the clearest way to do this would be to save t equals df.shape. Okay, I chose t because this is a tuple, and then I could do t bracket 1. Okay, not the 0th entry, which is the number of rows, but the first entry, which is the number of columns. But this isn't the cleanest way or most Pythonic way to get this value. A nice Pythonic way is to say underscore, which you should think of as just a throwaway variable that I don't care about, followed by ncol for number of columns equals df.shape. And so how you should read this is that this df.shape is producing a tuple with 2 elements in it. The 0th element we're throwing into this underscore variable. Okay, be sure you use underscore, not a minus sign, so you don't get a syntax error. And then the thing I care about that I want to save, which is the first thing in the tuple, I'm saving that as ncol. So for example, if I check what's ncol, I get 23. And if you wanted, you could check what's underscore, and that's 1545. So this is an example of tuple unpacking. I'm unpacking the values of this tuple into this throwaway variable. Okay, I could call it a name also if I wanted, or end this ncol variable that I want to keep. Okay, let me show you another example of this. Let's import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. And let's say t equals plt.subplots. There are a bunch of similar looking commands in matplotlib, but this is the one I use the most, plt.subplots. And what type of thing is t? Okay, it's a tuple. And let's check what types of things are inside this tuple. Again, it has length 2. And the 0th thing is a matplotlib figure. The first thing is an axes subplot. And when you think of a tuple, one of the special things you should think about for a tuple is that it's a very good choice of data type for holding different types of data. So for example, up here, the 2 types were the same. They were both ints, 1545 and 23. But here there are different types of data. There's a matplotlib axes subplot and a matplotlib figure. And so how we usually write this isn't t equals plt.subplots, okay? But instead we usually use tuple unpacking. Okay, and then we say fig comma ax, those are the conventional names I use, equals plt.subplots. Okay, and then if I check what's the type of this fig, exact same as the type of that t bracket 0 from up above. And if I type what's the type of ax, okay, the next thing that got returned, okay, that's this axes subplot. Let me give one more quick example. Remember that df is the Spotify data frame. And if I say for a comma b in df.groupBy artist, and let's print a, and it looks a little better if I say display b instead of print b. Okay, and let's just do this once so we're not going through the whole for loop. And then what's happening here? So what you should imagine is that when we're iterating through this df.groupBy, it's returning some tuples. And I'm unpacking, again, the tuple has length 2. And I'm unpacking this tuple into 2 separate things, A and B. A is a string. Okay, in this case, it's this nsync. B turns out it's a data frame. And in this case, it's all the songs in the whole data frame. It's all the songs in that data frame by the artist nsync. So in this case, there was only one of these songs. And so again, the tuple that got returned by this iteration through df group by, again, it's holding heterogeneous data, like data types that are totally different. The 0th thing in the tuple is a string. The first thing in the tuple is a pandas data frame. And we'll see more examples of tuple unpacking or other types of unpacking as we're using scikit-learn.